Hey, this is James Kottak of the Scorpions, rocking the airwaves on Backbeat, the rock source with AndreGraziadei.
All music is the same. It's just a new set of lyrics and a new backbeat.
Well, James, thanks for taking time out today to have a chat with me. All right, you started at a relatively young age to have an interest in music. Does that stem from a musical family background, or what was the catalyst behind that?
Well, my father played Hammond B3 organ and used to have these crazy parties where he'd have all these friends over and they'd just sing all these old standards down in the basement. And I remember we'd be upstairs listening to them. They were just having a blast. And we always wanted to go down there, but we weren't allowed. And I don't know, maybe it started with that. And then when I was about 9 years old, my friend got me to go to band class and play trumpet because he wanted somebody to go to class. And then I saw a drummer play, and then it just all kind of came together. I don't know what happened. It just happened.
You were born on the 26th of December. Was that a problem for you, or did you ever feel you got cheated out of something, like one day after Christmas?
Not at all. We did Christmas, and then my birthday was on the 26th. We always had a cake. I always got presents, and it really wasn't that much different. I guess it was in a way, because I never had any big parties or anything, but it wasn't that big of a deal.
So it wasn't a negative thing for you?
No.
Yeah. What was the first instrument you ever received, and do you still own it?
I had a toy trumpet. Of course, I ended up playing the real trumpet. There was a snare drum that hung on this wall in our basement that I wasn't allowed to touch, and I used to sneak and play it. And I would have to say that my trumpet, when I was 9 years old, thank God my mom bought it for me, and that was the first real one.
Uh-huh. So, what did your parents think when you first said you wanted to be a musician? Well,
I didn't really say, "Hey, I'm going to be a musician," but my mom and dad divorced, so my dad wasn't around, and I just kind of started playing drums and just never stopped. And then I did my first gig when I was 11, and I made $16, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." We played Beatles covers and Eagles and all that kind of stuff. And then I saw a band when I was in 6th grade play at my sister's high school. And I went home just going, "Oh my God, they were as good as Led Zeppelin." And I just kind of from that point on just started practicing, and I played all the Led Zeppelin 8-track tapes. And I just honestly was just obsessed, and I never stopped, and I don't know what happened. Then when I was 14, I joined a band, and they were all older guys, and my mom let me quit school and go on the road when I was 15 for a year. Go figure that. But all the guys in the band were 24 and 25. And then from that point on, I really never looked back. It's the only thing I ever did.
But you finished school.
Oh, yeah. I went back to school the next year and finished. I did 2 years in 1 year. It was amazing. Plus, I was in marching band and all that stuff. And I was just one-track mind.
Who were the drummers you looked up to? And having worked and played with many bands and artists, have you had the chance to meet any of them?
Well, actually, of course, John Bonham from Led Zeppelin was just my hero. And I also played along with a lot of Grand Funk Railroad records. And, man, they had a live album. Don Brewer was one of my favorite all-time drummers. And, I listened to, Beatles 8-track tape. I had the Sgt. Pepper's thing. I used to play with those over and over. And I've been so fortunate to meet just about everybody I've ever wanted to meet over the years, including Buddy Rich. And he hit on my best friend's girlfriend. And, I've been really, really lucky to meet everybody, and I'm friends with Jason Bonham, and I'm really fortunate. I've had so many wonderful dreams come true.
Is anybody left on the wish list?
I met Louis Bellson. I'm sure there's somebody, I just can't think of it now.
Okay. So how would you describe your style of drumming?
I'm very aggressive, very high energy. I like to play to the song. And playing to the song means playing less. But when you're playing less, you're actually playing more because it's bigger and more powerful, I feel like. And there's a time for the drummer to go nuts, and that's usually when he's at home practicing. And that's the way I feel. I'm really into singing a lot, so I sing on all the songs. So I try to just lend my drums to the song. Because I'm also a songwriter, and I understand what I want to hear out of the drums is not a bunch of crazy stuff. There's music like that has room for that, so that's where it should be.
Having cut your teeth extensively playing club gigs, what was the most important thing you learned then that would help you out later in your career?
Definitely being consistent. playing the same every single night. I adopted a philosophy many years ago, which was I play every show as if it were my last show, which is hard to live up to. But even playing in clubs back then, I was always looking for the next break and looking for the next band to play with and looking for the next opportunity. And I knew the only way to do that was to play extremely well every single night, which is hard when you're playing 4 sets a night and you're tired and you have to go to school the next day. But it all seemed to work somehow.
That must have been a mind-blowing experience, but where were you and what were you doing the day you were asked to join the Scorpions, and how did that come about?
Well, I was in my living room, the phone rang, and there was a guy named Stuart Young, the former manager of Scorpions, and he said, hello, is this James Kottak? I go, yeah, this is he. I'm Stuart Young, manager of the Scorpions, and Rudolph and the boys would like to know if you'd like to be interested in coming to play. And I go, okay, sure. So Rudolph and Klaus were coming to Los Angeles for promotion for Pure Instinct, and so we set up a meeting, and I went and met them, and we kind of picked up where we left off because I knew the guys since 1988. Kingdom Come opened for Scorpions on Monsters of Rock.
Okay.
Kingdom Come, Metallica, Doc, and Scorpions, Van Halen. It was a big tour, and we kind of became friends. Then I was already friends with the guys first, and they recorded Crazy World with Keith Olsen. And I had a relationship with Keith Olsen because Keith produced our second Kingdom Come record, and he also signed my band Wild Horses. So I was kind of hanging around the studio, and I saw the guys when they were recording that record. And, I did a record with Michael Schenker in 91 or 92.
MSG,
last MSG record. And I was really honored to do that. So, rock and roll is kind of a small world, so it was like pretty exciting. I came over and played, and it just all kind of worked out. The timing was incredible.
Were you how surprised were you? Maybe not.
Well, my whole life has been full of like surprises. You never know who's calling on the other end, and I was surprised because it really did come out of nowhere. At the time, I was really burnt out on rock and roll and everything in general, so I was kind of like, oh, well, I'm not sure if I really want to even do this. Truthfully, once I met with Rudolph and Klaus, I got pretty excited. I was like, oh, right, this could be really, really fun. If you recall, in the mid-'90s, rock and roll was pretty dead.
Yeah, it was taking a siesta.
Yeah, thank you, Nirvana. And but I love David Grohl and Foo Fighters. So, I didn't really realize how big Scorpions were around the planet until I went on tour with them that year, and I went, whoa. Every corner of the world, this band is huge. So that changed a lot, too, and it all kind of worked out in the end.
Because I remember a guy in high school, and I'm going back in 1979, who was like a big Scorpions fan. He was like, the Scorpions, they're German, they rock.
Yeah.
So
my girlfriend had all the, my old girlfriend from before I even left Louisville, I used to have all the old records and just played them over and over and over. It drove me crazy.
After sharing the studio and the stage with them for over 10 years now.
15.
How's your German?
My Deutsch sucks. I got the discs and tried to learn. I'm just one of those guys. I grew up in America. I never even learned Spanish. There was no reason to. Yeah. So, and I've tried. I can order off the menu. I understand what they're saying in rehearsals. I understand what we're going to do next. They don't have to repeat everything in English, although they still do.
Right. And
they speak in English most of the time when we're out of Germany. We don't play in Germany much until this year. Mm-hmm. So, my Dutch sucks.
So what do you like most about Germany?
I'll tell you one thing is I like the food, and I like just the whole vibe. Think about it. Germany is, I think, the number 4 economy in the entire world, and it's maybe the size of California. Mm-hmm. It's just a very efficient, cool place to be and live. I don't live here. I live in Los Angeles, but I like everything about it. I like one thing I really like is everybody's always on time. I really appreciate that because I've been in bands over the years where everybody's showing up, you're sitting on the bus waiting for them to come out, the singer or whoever, come out and you're sitting there for 20, 30 minutes. I don't like that.
I'm sure the work with the Scorpions has given you a decent amount of recognition. Now, I'm not sure how much exposure your work with your band Kottak brings you, but do you get the feeling of being an insider tip or the musician's musician?
It seems like it's great to be with Scorpions. It's given me a lot of notoriety and stuff, and it's opened many, many doors. If I wasn't with Scorpions, we probably wouldn't be sitting here talking right now.
Right.
And it's opened a lot of doors for my own project, Kottak, and you know, we are really busy, but I have enough time to do promo and stuff for this, for Kottak, because I'm a songwriter and I'm always writing songs. Got hundreds of songs, and this is our third album, the Kottak Rock and Roll Forever. So rather than sit around doing nothing, I'd much rather promote something.
You play drums for the Scorpions, but guitar for your own band.
Right.
Now, as your wife takes up the position behind the drum kit.
Right.
How do you view yourself as a musician?
Well, you know, I am actually a musician. I'm not a drummer. I'm a musician, songwriter, singer, everything. And that means, you know, I play all instruments, and I studied all instruments. I can sit down and play the piano. I'm not very good, but I know all the chords. And I think that's what, to be successful at anything, you have to learn every aspect of it. If you own a McDonald's, you have to learn every job. And that's my part of the job, I think. You know, so I've always tried to learn everything because I'm curious. I'm always trying something new. And I suck on guitar, but man, I look really good. Why
did you take on the pseudonym Jimmy Ratchet for the part in your own band?
Well, that started back when we first started doing shows in the early 2000s. You know, I was like, you know, you have your special little warm-up things before the show. Well, I've been a drummer so long, I'm in the dressing room like going, like kind of like looking around for drumsticks. Well, I had a friend my initials are JRK, James Ray Kottak, and my friend started calling me JR, and then he called me Jimmy Ratchet. And I was like going, well, maybe I should name myself Jimmy Ratchet. That way I was like, I have a new persona and I have something else to do. And it's just kind of like, it's kind of like Alice Cooper putting on the makeup. It gave me a new persona.
Cool.
Yes.
Your last album, Therapy, is a very raw effort and with some punk influence. Is that representative of the style you want to define for the band?
Yeah, and even more so on the new album, Kottak Rock and Roll Forever. I think we've defined it even more. When Green Day Dookie came out in, I think, '93, when I heard that record, it kind of changed things for me because I was kind of burnt out on all the straight ahead hard rock, and the you know, the whole '80s thing was kind of over, and I was kind of searching for something new too. And our Green Day Dookie was like going, that's what I'm looking for. And I'd been playing guitar and writing songs kind of like that. And then I heard that record, because I was always listening to Ramones and I always liked that kind of stuff. And it just kind of sent me in a new direction. So I've just been writing songs like that, and I played with a few bands like that in LA. And now we've developed our sound even more so to where it's more what it is.
Okay.
We are Cheap Trick meets Green Day on a bad day.
Your wife, Athena, has lead vocals on one track off Therapy. Did you decide to share more lead vocals on the new album?
No, that was actually when we record very fast. And we were in the studio doing that. The producer said, man, I got this riff. And Athena goes, man, I have these lyrics. And it was that fast. And I swear to God, in 2 hours we had the track. Seriously, we worked that fast.
Okay.
And it just kind of came together for her to sing it because, I mean, with a name like, she wrote the lyrics of the song Super Pricks. It speaks for itself. You have to hear the track. But actually, also, we had another song called Anti, which I'm not sure it's on
that's the one I'm talking about.
Oh.
That's the track I'm talking about.
Oh, you're talking about Anti.
Anti.
Okay, well, there's the follow-up to that. It's called Super Pricks on the new album she sings.
Okay.
Smirnoff.
That's it at the end. So you once mentioned you have plans to host some drum clinics. What's your motivation for that?
Because when I started out back in... when I was still in high school, I started teaching privately, and I really liked it. I had probably about 20 students a week, and I did that for like 5 or 6 years to earn extra money. And I always really enjoyed teaching, and I used to go to a lot of drum clinics. I liked it. I did a few clinics back in the late 80s, early 90s, and I really enjoyed it, but I just really just don't have the time to do it. So that's one of my other plans, maybe in a couple of years once Scorpions is over with. I really love the whole clinic vibe and the whole teaching thing.
Cool. Pass it forward.
Right on.
So you got 3 children now. Will they be one day carrying the torch of the rock and roll Kottak legacy?
God. Miles, our 17-year-old, is a badass drummer. He's killing it, man. I mean, you have no idea. He's got a band called Blackout 101. He's obsessed with it too. We had nothing to do with it. He just started playing drums and just nonstop. And then our daughter Toby is 20, and she's doing fashion, and she's into modeling and into clothes design. And then our other son just turns 13, actually tomorrow. Oh. And he's just a freak too. So we're kind of like the Von, instead of the Von Traps, we're the Von Craps.
Having the opportunity to travel around the world and experience many things the average person less likely will, what experience sticks out most in your mind that still fascinates you today?
What freaks me out is the feeling I get like a day like today, like, okay, I mean, I'm at the hotel, you know, and I mean, I literally cannot wait to leave the hotel, get over and go to the gig. I love getting here. I love sound checking, playing, everything about it, just the whole vibe and the feeling of, I know in a few hours there's going to be, you know, 10,000 people there and just going crazy. There's nothing better than that. I love it more than anything in the world. I hope that it never ends.
Once the farewell tour is over with the Scorpions, which is a hard act to top, is there a specific band you would consider playing with if you were asked?
Well, I've been asked to play with a few people already, and you know, it just depends on the situation. There, I mean, you know, if Nickelback called me tomorrow, hello, Chad. You know, dude, I'd go play with Nickelback in a heartbeat. I really like those guys. They're great. They're one of my favorite bands. That's a hard question, but like I said, I've been asked by a few people, and you know, the door's wide open.
Well, James, thanks a lot for having a chat.
Dude, you're welcome.